I don't like 40X.
Why not?
I'll tell you why. It's not fun. It's painful.
He's a sensitive boy.
I'm not that sensitive.
He's a sensitive.
I go on roller coasters.
It's a moving
But if I
scene.
want to watch a movie, I just want to watch a movie.
We come to this place for magic, to laugh,
To cry.
Take care.
but most importantly, to argue about movies. We are
The Box Office Buds.
My name is Tony Squares. As always, I'm joined by the stellar Kellerman, Mr. Cheese on my left. Today is a fantastic show. We have another Alex we're bringing in to talk about a movie that is releasing in LA and New York right now. Worldwide, a few weeks later, it's time to talk about Friendship with Paul Rudd and Tim Robinson. Cannot wait to discuss all the great buddy comedies of our time. We also have a See It, Stream It, Skip It at the end of the show with 3 movies that you've never heard of that are also coming out. We'll tell you all about them. But first off, we have to dive into the movie that took over the weekend. Marvel is back, folks, and that's because of the movie that did so well. You remember the name.
Thunderbolts!
Let's dive into Thunderbolts. Big money for Thunderbolts. Sadly, not big enough. Is it profitable? Variety would ask. Well, this show deemed it unprofitable because we all guessed over 77 million, the weekly over-under, and all 3 of us, including producer TJ, making it a 4th loss. This movie only made 74 million domestically. However, huge success when it comes to Marvel.
Yes, L's all around for us, but 162 worldwide opening, 84 plus, I believe,
Yes.
or 86, correct?
It's a big number worldwide, yeah.
Strong
internationally, which is
international
what the
number.
number you want to see. I mean, I'm curious to see if this movie has legs. It's got a 95% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes right now. It's
People are
doing
loving it.
quite well.
I have not seen a lot of bad reviews out there in the online TikTok, Instagram.
and you won't,
People are loving
because
it.
it is
It was
excellent.
awesome. Yeah,
it is
we'll,
so good.
we'll get to that.
This movie has launched producer TJ, because it is one of his movies in our fantasy box office league. It has launched him into 3rd place in the season standings. You'll see that on screen with me right now. If you're listening at home, or if this is the first time you've seen this show, all 3 of us and our close-knit friend group have drafted 5 movies coming out this calendar year. The most in the worldwide box office wins the fantasy box office league. I'm the coolest one on this show because I won last year. However,
I don't know.
King of Kings is not doing great
Coolest.
for me this year.
No.
So far, the standings, Kellerman, the man who's laughing right now, he is leading the way thanks to Minecraft, almost hitting 900 million worldwide.
This guy.
Unbelievable.
Dangles is in 2nd place thanks to Captain America, and Sinners still making fantastic money even in its 3rd weekend.
Sinners, 33 mil domestically
Amazing.
last week.
Another.
Incredible.
Another
TJ
one.
enters the fray with how well Thunderbolts has done, and as you said, this looks to have long legs.
I think so. I think it's very possible. We got some juggernauts coming down the pipe, but I don't think anything that's really going to impede on Thunderbolts at present. Lilo
No
and
way.
Stitch is a worry in general because parents are probably going to be taking their kids, but I still think that Thunderbolts has like a good month of like
has some
solid
time.
numbers for sure.
And it has all these IMAX screens for a while until Mission Impossible comes in and takes those. People, now that Marvel is sort of out there putting out a little bit of spoilers out there on what these Thunderbolts actually are and what they become, people are now going like, oh, I can't miss this. I need to go and see this. TJ was spot on when he came on this show last week and said that the talk about it factor, the cool factor is with this movie. So I think it's going to have not that huge of a drop off when it comes to the 2nd weekend, even the 3rd weekend.
I completely agree. I really do
100%.
think, and I am the one who is not the Marvel guy. I will call it as I see it with each movie. I like a lot of them. I dislike a lot of them. This one for me was genuinely, after a couple days of thinking about it too, definitely in my top 5. I really enjoyed it.
Top 5.
Definitely my top 5 Marvel
No,
movies.
that's
Wow.
wrong.
Okay.
That's wrong.
Okay. Hold on. Let me separate the 2 real fast because we're gonna do our full spoiler review of Thunderbolts in a second. But I just want to wrap up one thing real quick before we get into Thunderbolts. Kellerman, you are in 1st place in this league. However, Accountant 2 is only at 54 million.
Look, Accountant 2 was a huge disappointment, but they can't all be King of Kings.
Who makes more money, King of Kings or Accountant 2?
I'll tell you, if King of Kings had an international release, which it just flat out does not, they'd be lapping Ben Affleck right now.
That is crazy.
That's
We're getting no
possible.
Jesus Cristo in the
And they're
worldwide
talking
release.
about
love.
a 3rd one, too, for some reason.
A 3rd King of Kings?
No,
I know. They really want to make a third
a
Accountant.
3rd coming of...
A third accountant. It's insane.
A third accountant, yeah, for what?
It's truly insane.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows. But again, this is a very
The line
full show.
dancers.
We're going to speed right into it. We have a friend, Alex Lewis, coming on to talk about friendship. See it, stream it, skip it. But coming up next, if you have not seen Thunderbolts, there are spoilers ahead. If you want to see the rest of the podcast, feel free. We have timestamps in the descriptions of anywhere you're watching this. So, without any further ado, it's time to spoiler review
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts came out this weekend. It saved Marvel. You've seen the reviews that we've put online, the trip to the theaters that TJ and Alex made. Kellerman, you also saw this movie in theaters. You guys saw it in 3D, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Why'd you say it like that?
It was. Oh.
Nobody should see
Are you
a
a
movie
3D
in 3D
fan?
anymore.
Let's
Come
start
on.
I'm
there.
a huge 3D
It's
fan.
a 2025.
Yes.
Hold on. Are you a 3D fan?
Sure am.
You think here's my thing about 3D. I don't understand how the technology hasn't grown with film. Why are we still wearing these glasses that are the size of my head?
I agree that there should be some 3D technology development, but unfortunately it's very expensive and
Also,
everybody
I
talks
found
about it the way you were talking about it right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, but
Also, 3D glasses on top of a man who wears regular glasses. No
What a
go.
nightmare.
We
No
should
go.
have 3D.
What an absolute
we should
nightmare.
have glasses free 3D. You're
That
right.
being said,
I agree.
can we dive into the movie that took over?
Hold on, I got one more thing on the 3D space because I really got to talk about it
Oh
because it was
my
really
God.
upsetting. Okay, I had to clean the fog from my 3D glasses 4 or 5 times.
Why are you so sweaty?
I don't know.
I didn't have to clean
It was
any
a warm
fog off
theater.
I don't think I've ever had to clean fog off of my 3D glasses.
Well, good for you. Maybe I'm a little more.
What are you
I'm a little
talking
more
about?
moist. Okay.
Why do you have such moist eyeballs?
I don't know, but it was very upsetting for me when I would take it off, and all of a sudden I'm disoriented and blind from the.
Disoriented. It's just a little fuzzy on the screen.
Oh, that was disorienting.
Well, you let us know in the comments if your 3D glasses fog up when you watch a movie, or was it just Thunderbolts' effect?
Despite that, Thunderbolts was great.
Incredible.
These two saw the movie. And this is going to be a spoiler review. And I actually want to start off. I have to come clean with you guys. I do have a confession to make. You can tell I'm not a good liar because it really hurt me these past few days not being able to tell you guys about this. I wanted to wait for right now because
You saw
I
it.
too saw Thunderbolts.
I knew you were gonna see it.
Round of applause for the man.
It was too
the myth,
good
the
not to
legend,
see
Tony
it.
Squares.
We all told you that it was so good. There was no way
how
you
could you
couldn't see
not?
it.
I saw it before you guys.
You
saw it.
saw it before us.
You
I saw
pulled
it
a
before
TJ.
I helped-
Wow.
I saw it
Pulled
before
a
I
TJ.
spent all day helping you move. I had
my
already seen it at that
God,
point.
You
Wow.
knew?
And I had to tell all the people we were moving with that I had seen it, and don't tell Kellerman I had seen it because I had to talk to
Wow.
somebody about it. Thunderbolts was fantastic.
It
really was great.
Thunderbolts was fantastic. But let's start off with what you said in your initial review when we were doing social media about how Florence Pugh was the heart of this movie, because I thought she was spectacular.
There are very few people, and I mean this, there are very few actors, male, female, or otherwise, who can carry an indie movie and a $250 million Marvel movie, and she is capable of doing it without pushing in either space.
Yeah, I agree.
I just couldn't believe how little she was doing and how clear her point of view was in a Marvel movie. It's so rare because, like, we talked about Captain Marvel last week, and I don't mean to belabor the point, but Brie Larson is great in an indie film and put the same level of energy into Captain Marvel, and she was boring as hell. Almost, she melted away from the screen for me, whereas Florence Pugh...
Melted the screen.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
That was
Whereas Florence Pugh was able to be dry and hilarious, really like beautifully sad, and like it was a deep performance. It was a really, really fulfilling and exciting and incredible performance, starting off with that amazing shot of her doing that stunt herself, jumping off the second biggest building in the world. I mean,
Not entirely necessary, but sure.
it was necessary. If that was literally my one gripe with the movie, is that they show her about to jump off and then they cut to the wide, and I feel like in interview she's got to be like, no, I really did it. But like other than that, she was incredible. The whole cast was really great.
I really enjoyed it. I am not the biggest Wyatt Russell fan. I thought he was excellent in this
He
movie.
was so good.
I
did
am
a great
not-
job.
I'm not the biggest fan of Pullman. I forget his name.
Lewis Pullman.
I'm not the biggest fan of Lewis Pullman. He was great
I have
in
a
this
great
movie.
Lewis Pullman story I'm going to tell you real quick.
Well, his character, also the way they used Sentry and the Void, and the way this movie treated sort of mental hardships, I thought thought it was really well done. It didn't mire itself in the swamp that conversation can be. It still stayed that superhero movie. I thought it was extremely well done. It's not the perfect movie. There are still flaws in any Marvel movie, specifically this one, but I really enjoyed my time. Before you go on, Pullman, I want to look at you now. The reason I started with Florence Pugh is because you can't like this movie and not like what she did in it.
Oh, 100%. Florence Pugh's a fantastic actress, and she pulled it out again. And everybody who, just like you said, I typically don't find particularly engaging, everybody was firing on all cylinders. Yeah. Marvel characters that I don't care about. Guardians of the Galaxy all over again. Yeah. Marvel characters that I just never cared about, had heard of, but didn't care. Totally, now I'm in love with them, and I'm ready for them to be the new Avengers, which is what I think is going to propel the movie further now that Marvel's doing this new marketing push.
So smart.
Revealing who they actually are. And I don't know if the answer is out there, because frankly, I haven't researched it. Maybe producer TJ can look this up. But I'm curious if they knew, if when they announced the Thunderbolts years ago, that they knew that that would be launching the new Avengers.
Well, this
is a product of the Kang rearrangement. Oh, now we need a new Avengers. Nothing's been coming together. We need a Hail Mary. Let's just turn the Thunderbolts into the new Avengers.
As far as I can tell, this has long been planned to be the ending of this phase.
That's true. Fantastic Four has always been planned to be the beginning of the next phase.
So this may have been a sort of shift in what they were doing, but I think an outside thought was building this out, because this is, I guess, a comic book storyline about the Dark Avengers and how that stuff starts. So it's definitely comic book true.
It was the Dark Avengers story.
Yeah. My favorite part, speaking of the new Avengers, we'll get to your Pullman story in a second. My favorite part of the movie, one of my favorite parts of the movie is when they finished it and we see all these wonderful cartoons with the new Avengers, like Rosie the Riveter, Florence Pugh's.
So
I thought that was chef's kiss.
Yeah,
perfect.
really
Whoever
great.
thought of that, and I thought it was fantastic. The New Yorker poster, that was great. But Lewis Pullman, let's go.
Yeah, Lewis Pullman. So I went to my theater company does a thing every year where we go and open hotels and do like a play at the hotel. And Lewis Pullman happened to be at one. He's friends with one of the people who was in the show, and it was 2 years ago, before he was offered the role of Thunderbolts, or just as he was offered the role of Thunderbolts, and he was debating whether or not he wanted to be in Thunderbolts. He and I were a bit intoxicated, if you will.
Oh.
And he asked me, should I do this movie? And in my head, in my intoxicated head, I immediately responded, yeah, man, of course you should do this movie. It's Marvel. And he's like, well, I don't want to be seen as like a bad actor. I was like, if you do it right, you won't be a bad actor. And now look at him. The villain, the killer villain who everybody fell in love with at the end,
He did it right.
He did a fantastic job.
Time out. Alex Alche is the reason Lewis Pullman is Sentry in Thunderbolts?
You heard it here first.
Probably not, but
Box
I'm going to take
office
credit
bud
for
scoop.
it. Yeah.
This is fantastic.
Who knows how many people he said to?
I'm sure the whole night.
At the bar that night.
The whole night he's going up to people like, should I do this Marvel movie?
He's talking to the valet at the end of the night. Hey, man, let me rap with you real fast.
I just don't know.
In my head, it was like a 3-hour
conversation.
conversation. It was probably like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll take a double cheeseburger. And also, I have a question.
I'm considering doing a Marvel movie.
Yeah, weird, huh?
Do you know
Weird, huh?
Sentry? Are you a Marvel fan?
100% true. Very weird moment of my life, and
That's so
it was
funny.
wonderful to see him.
Gotta love living in LA. All right, let's dive into Thunderbolts, though, because I think there are some truly special moments of this movie. Kellerman, you are much more the Marvel fanboy than I am. Watching this movie, I have something I want to say from it, and I am going to hold true to it because I've seen it all, but I want your opinion. I think the motorcycle sequence with Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, is the coolest Winter Soldier moment in all of the MCU. Him coming through the smoke and them all looking back, and he's riding the motorcycle, throwing the explosives, blowing people up, and then they're like, oh, he's here to save us, and then he throws an explosive on their limo and flips them over. It was so effing cool.
Well, of course I agree that it was so cool. I don't know if I agree it's the coolest thing he's ever done. If you recall, in Civil War, he caught a moving motorcycle, spun it around and hopped on it and started riding. Didn't quite match that for me, but it's a very Terminator 2-esque sequence.
Yes.
And boy, did I love that. They really pulled in a James Cameron feel for that, and it worked so hard for me.
Yeah.
I was cheering.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
awesome. And it's a very, like, him riding in to save the day, and then you've got like the like kind of surprise ending where he's not there to save them.
Well, that's that's the beauty of this whole movie. To me, it truly was. These are not heroes.
Yeah.
And they're trying to find their footing as heroes. And it was so beautifully depicted, even if the strength volume doesn't work, of that big sheet of cement, and they all go one by one to save the cement from falling on everybody and push it over. I teared up in that moment. I thought it was beautifully done. Even though it's a stupid comic book movie with all these fake effects, I thought that was so artfully done, and them all helping each other and hitting that thing one at a time. I thought it was gorgeous.
That was my thing about this movie, ultimately. It was like, there are tropes that they hit that really worked because the writing was there, the acting was tip-top. They were a true team in that, like, nobody believes in us kind of a way, and it really worked. Like, there were some moments that hit me over the head a little bit with like the "it's okay, you're not lost, we're here" kind of things that happen, but that's expected. In a
I thought they were placed very strategically, though.
They were.
I didn't feel like there was.
I agree.
Those moments were short, even though they were many.
I also think in a world, genuinely, and this might be a little too mean, but like in a world where mental health is very, very prevalent throughout, people are dealing with a lot of crazy stuff right now, like, to have superheroes who are dealing with the same thing and to see that on screen was like powerful. It was.
I agree. The emotion was definitely there for me. I felt like they sort of redid a plot, not a plot. I feel like they sort of borrowed from Avengers 2, where they're all kind of reliving past bad memories and things like that, but it was done so much better. You felt it so much more. Those moments were so much more relatable.
They were able to move the plot
and
by doing them
to
too.
the plot.
Yeah,
yes, 100%. But on top of that, on top of the emotion, Tony, that may not have been the coolest thing, in my opinion, that Winter Soldier's ever done, but every single action sequence was
top notch,
awesome,
really good,
so great.
So really good.
And it seems like every time I go to a new Marvel movie, it seems impossible to me that they can like come up with some new action thing that I've just never seen, and they keep doing it.
All of my favorite part in the action world was all of them trying to fight Sentry with his full powers.
Yeah, and they just can't do anything
so
to him.
good.
Really,
It's amazing.
really cool.
So good.
Amazing sequence.
I didn't love the final bit where they're fighting him in the void and the emotion and
Oh,
stuff. But
I loved it.
Yeah, I
cool,
get
though.
that. I totally get if you loved it or you hated it. I will say the biggest surprise, I guess, the biggest thing I've found online that people are having guff with, they pitched this as a 6 superhero movie, and they did the Psycho bit where they killed off Taskmaster almost immediately.
Yeah.
It shocked my theater. How was the experience for you guys?
It shocked me, but that's because I'm a big Taskmaster fan from the comic books, and she is not a she in the comic books, or at least she didn't used to be. But I was disappointed with her being the villain with not a whole lot to do in Black Widow, and was really hoping that she would have a bigger part in this. So the fact that she was the one to die right up front was not just shocking to me, but a little disappointing because I wanted to see more Taskmaster.
I mean, I get wanting to see more. I thought it did great for the story.
Sure did. Everything stopped. It was cool.
Exactly.
It kind of made us go. I don't really know what this movie is going to be. You know, in that moment, that scene was amazing. That action sequence was so
Another
cool.
stellar action sequence.
It was like it harkened back to like the Star Wars, like the walls closing in type of thing, and I loved it.
I will say one thing. That action sequence where they're all fighting in the incinerator has my least favorite moment in the film.
Bob?
Why did there suddenly start a 2-minute clock?
Oh, the clock on the inside
Why are we
is crazy.
suddenly at a Royal Rumble?
You know, in case somebody's trapped in there.
Do you know
understand
how long
how
it takes
movies
to build
work.
an incinerator type
I
fire?
understand how movies work, but did we need the red blinking light
I also
perfectly
thought it
placed
was
behind
weird.
them? Like,
I
hey,
also thought it was
oh
weird.
my God, we only have 22 minutes now. Let's go. Let's figure it
You
out.
went to acting
That
school.
was so
Time, difficulty, consequence.
so
Come on.
stupid. So stupid. But again, I didn't have a lot of guff with this movie. Is there anything that stuck out to you, bad or good, before we move on?
I do want to say, I think one of the best parts of this movie is the way that they were able to get rid of people on the streets. And the way it was just sort
The
of
effect,
like
you mean?
the effect was just so
the shadow effect is
it was
cool.
simple and subtle and had like a very haunting
Super
when
scary.
Red Guardian saves that little girl, and a moment later she's gone. Yeah.
The whole theater went,
Oh
whoa.
yeah, brutal.
That was
brutal.
good, and I was very excited that she came back at the end.
Yep.
But yeah, that whole section, the fact that the way that they designed him too, with just his eyes,
So cool.
kind of Sinner's vampire-esque
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, sure.
Really, really cool stuff. Overall, just like very tasteful in the way that they hit all of the pieces of this puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody online said that they liked this because it wasn't overwrought like most recent Marvel movies. And at the time, we all laughed at the use of the word overwrought. But after seeing it, I think that is a perfect word to describe it.
Completely agree.
The simplicity of it really amplified all those elements that made it great.
Well, before this segment becomes overwrought, let's wrap up with one final thing. The post-credit sequence.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was really fun. I thought them now in Avengers Tower months later, they're talking about how Sam Wilson has trademarked the Avengers name or
Right.
whatever, and
They
there's
can't use
infighting between these guys, which sets up a lot of fun that we can have in future
I will
Avengers
say
movies.
shout out to David Harbour for the ridiculous comedy throughout the
Avengers,
film. That
yeah.
one was not everyone can knock that out of the park, and he did. He nailed
Well,
it.
the tag on the end of this credit sequence is an interdimensional ship has now entered orbit, and the ship turns around, and it is the Fantastic Four ship. Kellerman, your movie, Fantastic Four, is coming out soon.
Sure is.
That was quite the teaser for it.
Yeah, it was, baby. Everybody who saw this is going to go see Fantastic Four, plus people who didn't go see this, plus people who never heard of a movie before. Everyone's going to see Fantastic Four. I cannot wait. I was a little disappointed with the teaser for it, but regardless, I think they could have done a little bit more than just show the ship. But regardless.
Well, let me tell you, I do think it gave away a little bit of a spoiler.
Well, we knew... We already... Well,
Fantastic Four ends up in
our present
Thunderbolts
day,
timeline.
which we knew that they were going to have to.
We knew it was going to have to, but they have to travel dimensions to do so. And how and why are they? Not so much how, why are they doing so? Are they traveling here because their dimension is no longer there?
Well, who's to say? Anything could happen in the Fantastic Four movie. That's a possibility.
Did they lose in the Fantastic Four movie?
I think that they were, again, possible. I don't think it's likely.
I'm thinking about it.
I don't know if it's likely.
You think Silver Surfer wins?
I think that they were answering a question that everybody was kind of wondering, because the Fantastic Four movie clearly takes place in the 60s, in the past.
Yeah.
It was unclear if that is our past or a completely different dimension. And this sort of solves
I think it was
that,
very
that sort
smart.
of answers that.
I think
Yeah,
it's very
agree.
smart because you probably had people going, what does this have to do with Marvel? Is this just a flashback of a film that is the
how are we gonna
upcoming
connect the
Fantastic
dots?
Four?
Yeah.
And to give, the Marvel audience or the layman Marvel fan like myself that little tease of like, oh no, they're going to be a big part of, phase 6.
Yeah.
For the next however long is key.
But it also informs you that why there is no Howard Stark in
Right.
this 60s when the Fantastic Four starts. Why there is no why nobody's talking about Captain America from the 40s, because that will have been a completely different dimension, and there's no mention of the Avengers in wherever they are.
But overall, the Thunderbolts, a.k.a. the new Avengers, which you
Yeah.
can see Marvel, genius PR move, press moves they're doing with this.
I do have one gripe.
Oh, no.
My
You
have a
one
gripe?
Oh, no.
One gripe.
Tell me.
David Harbour yelled Thunderbolts once.
Yeah, you're right.
And it was very lackluster. And it was the only time in the movie.
It wasn't the way you did it
I was
at all.
really hoping for
Can
some
you-
Thunderbolts.
Can you
We
say
didn't
the
really
new
get it.
Avengers in the same way?
The new Avengers. I don't
Well,
even know
it's
how
a
you
little
say
I don't
it.
less
think so.
enthusiastic.
I don't
but
think so. But I
guess.
am more enthusiastic about the new Avengers than I ever have been the
Very
Thunderbolts.
cool.
I think they knocked it out of the park. I mean, honestly, there are better movies I've seen this year. Sinners is a better movie. Warfare is a better movie. I was the most surprised by Thunderbolts and the most pleased with my viewing of Thunderbolts.
I was also really surprised, but I'm wondering if that's because my hour expectations were so low.
Basement.
If you recall on the last episode, even though I'm a Marvel fan, I did not think this was really going to perform. And boy, was I wrong. I think it's going to do great. I think everybody's going to love it.
That's exactly what I want to get to next before we leave this segment and before we get Lewis on here to talk about friendship. We all made our guesses for the total worldwide number. Do we want to change those at all? Because I guess 500. We know now 162 week one worldwide. A weekend one worldwide. I think this is getting over 500 relatively easily.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it's going to hit 6. I don't know how much higher than that, though.
I agree.
Because there's a lot
what I
coming
was
down the
thinking.
pipe, like I said. So
But
we'll see.
that is it. And you should genuinely go see this movie if you are in any way interested in Marvel movies. It is a lot of fun. And I hope we didn't spoil too much for you if you hadn't seen it yet. But coming up next, we're talking about friendship. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to talk about friendship. And so, for this movie, we had to bring in one of our friends. You may know him from Lewberger or How to Make White People Tacos. You may see him in The Diary of Slam Frank coming up off Broadway in September. Get your tickets now, folks. But I know him as straining his voice every single night trying to sing mockeries of songs in the Lost parody musical. Welcome to the show, Alex Lewis.
Yeah, that's me.
That's you, baby.
Hooray.
Excited to talk about it. Excited to talk about friendship. Excited to talk about two friends, two Alexes that have been best friends for a long, long time.
It's
Long
true.
time. Yeah,
Very
here, dap
long
me
time.
up, bro. Dap me up.
That's very far, guys.
They did it.
We
Got
did it
it.
right
That
in
was
front
the
of
Sistine
Tony's
Chapel of
Bostonian face.
So how long have you two known each other?
We have known each other since 2010,
10.
maybe
15
2011.
years.
Wow.
I think it was 2011 actually.
Okay, fine. 14 years. Jeez.
That's
This guy.
still a
We're
pretty
supposed to
long
be talking about how
time.
good of friends we are here.
Still a pretty long
Well,
time.
at least one of us remembers how good of
right,
friends
fine.
we are, where one doesn't.
The worst part of this show so far is the fact that because of my fault, my friend for much longer than 15 years, Mr. Alex Alche, is no longer a part of this conversation. But Alex, I will say to the man off screen that you can't see nor hear right now, next year, we will have known each other longer than we haven't known each other.
Wow.
Which is
Oh my
terrifying.
goodness.
That's a long time.
Terrifying. Wow. Terrifying.
Yes.
So what's the best part of your friendship?
The best part of our friendship is how gosh darn much fun we have
It's
together.
true. We
It's-
have so much fun
That's
together.
true. We just helped you move into your new place, and we had a blast that day.
That
We
was a
did
lot of
have a
fun.
blast. We were roasting you that day.
Pretty
Big
much.
dude.
Yeah, really
Nonstop.
picking on me hard.
I have yet to bring it up again because I'm scared of how I'll react. We're not talking about it anymore. But it was a fun day.
It
was
was
brutal.
a fun day.
So
you
what's-
gotta, if you're helping your friend for free, that
You
gives
get to pick on
Yeah,
him
that
all
gives
day,
you carte blanche
obviously.
to mess with your friend.
Now, Lewis,
Gosh.
when you move, do you dust things before you move or no? Because
Yeah,
Kellerman
Lewis,
didn't.
When you move your things, how do you do that?
Do you take things?
Do you dust anything ever?
Do you take things?
No, I someone does.
You're not a duster.
Someone's dusting. Don't worry.
Okay, so they are dusted.
Lewis hires people to do those things for him. I did not hire anybody to do those things for
But
me.
that
and
doesn't
so
make you
it wasn't
incapable of
done.
doing it.
No, I'm not incapable. I just didn't.
So when you move things, Lewis, do you break them apart before you move them, or wait till the day of moving to break it all
I
down?
don't worry about that. I pay someone to do it.
Okay. Well,
Now,
hey,
Lewis
we helped
doesn't know
Kellerman.
anything
It
about
was a
moving
blast.
stuff.
It was a blast. New place is great.
It is wonderful.
It's
yeah,
an
and I
awesome
really
spot.
appreciate you guys helping out. You know, even though you broke my heart 1,000 times that day,
Your heart.
I couldn't have done it without you.
We
so
didn't break your
I do
hearts.
appreciate. Yeah, there's nothing like getting roasted relentlessly by your best friends.
The first thing
for
that
an entire
happened that
day.
I was very proud of was when I made you laugh because Kellerman for the moving day brought like the tiny water bottles.
yeah.
So
That was pretty
I
good.
looked at Kellerman and said, "Oh, you got the big boys."
Meanwhile, I'm on a stepladder trying to jimmy a cat tree that's nailed into a wall out, sweating profusely. But hey, those little arrowheads, they were done in 2 sips. They were needed, though. Fantastic time. The movie,
We
the
didn't,
reason
we
why...
didn't even run out of them or anything.
No, because I brought a half gallon out of my trunk. The movie that we're talking about, the reason why we have two best friends here, it's because it's about friendship. Tim Robinson, Paul Rudd. It looks like a very funny rated R buddy comedy.
Yeah.
Looks like a friendship that starts out great and then travels down a very dark rabbit
Maybe
hole. You've
gets
seen a
weird.
trailer for this movie. Are you interested in seeing this at all? Has this sparked your comedy interest?
Well, yeah, it's funny. I saw Warfare over the weekend, and it there was a trailer for Friendship Before Warfare. Where
Tough sell.
I know, but it looks really funny. I really like Tim Robinson a lot, and I love Paul Rudd. And I thought that I can't tell what the tone is supposed to be, but I feel like that's sort of how it always is with Tim Robinson
It's
stuff.
kind of like our friendship.
Yeah, you can't tell
Not
what the
real
tone of it is.
Sure, what the tone is.
No idea where it's going to go. I'm riding a roller coaster right here. Speaking of roller coasters, I heard you saw a movie in 4DX this weekend.
I didn't actually end
You
up.
didn't go?
So what happened was we got to the theater and
You got to the theater before you realized.
yeah, the tickets were for a different movie theater. I don't like 4DX.
Why not?
Why not? I'll tell you why. It's not fun. It's painful. It's like, it is too much.
He's a sensitive boy.
I'm not that sensitive.
He's a sensitive-
I
well,
go on roller coasters.
it's a moving
But if I
seat.
want to watch a movie, I just want to watch a movie. I don't need to feel. Oh my God! One thing that really drove me nuts. Did you guys see Alien Romulus?
Yes.
Okay. During that movie, we saw that in 4DX, which sounds like a great movie to see in 4DX.
does. Sure, space
and it
movie.
is when you're floating in space and you're going on the ship. But then, like, they get in fights. You feel them punching you, which is a ridiculous thing to add to the 4DX experience. Like, anytime the alien punches a person, you feel, oh, why would you add that as one of the things you feel? That's not what I don't
Do
movie.
the seats do that?
Yes.
Are you sure someone
Yes!
just wasn't hitting you the whole time?
No, it smacks you right in the back if someone's getting punched. It's so dumb.
What's the deal with these 4DX
I
movies?
really Seinfelded out there.
Kellerman, bringing it back to friendship,
Yeah, please.
okay? You are the one that obviously we're talking about the friendship here between you two, but this is also a movie that I think is up your alley. Like, Tim Robinson feels like your comedy bone. Are you excited for this one?
Sure. I love a dark comedy. I love a weird comedy. And like Lewis said, I can't really tell what this movie is
Neither
going
can
to
I.
be. The last little clip I saw it was a scene that started off about something just totally innocent, two people talking, and then all of a sudden he looks down and he's like in
He's
quicksand.
sinking. Yeah.
What is happening in this movie?
There's the clip of him saying, "We should go see the new Marvel." Did you see? There's a new Marvel out, and it's like that looks like a I think you should leave sketch.
That's what I
Yes.
was going to say. I think You Should Leave is a fantastic sketch comedy show, off the wall all the time, but it changes constantly. Like 2 minutes here, 3 minutes there, 4 minutes here. This is obviously a 90-minute movie. Do you think that type of humor can last for 90 minutes, or do you need that constant change of craziness?
I don't know. I think it is going to have crazy changes because it's an A24 movie.
Yeah.
So they-
A24 can be weird. I think this is going to be the test for me
Right.
when it comes to Tim Robinson.
It's a test for him. Can he sell a movie?
Right. And not only can he sell a movie, I mean, he's got Paul Rudd helping him, and Paul
Sure.
Rudd can definitely sell a movie.
Sure.
But he, I think You Should Leave is spectacularly hilarious, but I have a hard time binging it.
yeah.
I can't watch it I couldn't watch a movie length version of just I think You Should Leave.
I'm there with you. That's what I wanted to bring up. Can you live for 90 minutes straight into the I think you should leave type of world?
I don't know. That's
It's
a
tough.
long time.
Yeah.
It's like because he kind of plays the same character always.
That's true.
And like I enjoy that character a lot, but
Right.
after a while, it is kind of like
A little draining.
it's a little sad.
Yeah,
True,
that
too.
too. That too.
But hopefully there's an interesting enough story.
Well-
and A24 makes interesting stories, if nothing
Definitely.
else.
Absolutely, because this is, I'm sure he had input into it, but this is not a Tim Robinson movie.
That's
This is-
true. He didn't write it.
This is
Oh,
written,
really?
Written and directed by a man named Andrew DeYoung. This is his first movie as both a writer or as either a writer or a director. He's done a lot of TV though, and it kind of fits the I think you should leave like zany comedy world.
Does he work on I Think You Should Leave?
He does not, but he's directed a couple of episodes of Our Flag Means Death, directed a bunch of episodes of Pen 15, a couple of episodes of Dave, so definitely that sort of off-the-wall zany humor, based in realism, but also
Oh, he's got to
crazy
be a
stuff
Funny
that
or Die
happens.
guy. That's got to be a Funny or Die person.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So, and he's very young too. So this is his first sort of foray into this world alongside Tim. I am going to see this movie, no doubt about that. I do not know if I can sit there for 90 minutes if I think you should leave. So I'm hoping there's a little bit of grounded stuff in there. And there's some really great actors in here too, not just Paul Rudd. So I'm excited to see the whole thing. It only comes out in LA and New York to start.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it comes out
Limited
full
release
release
first.
Full release May 23rd with Mission Impossible and Lilo and Stitch at the same time. So it's going to hope to try and land the plane early
they're
here.
going to want to get some of this. They're
And
going to want
so-
to capture some early tickets.
Exactly. It's going to have to survive by word of mouth, I think. Do you think a rated R buddy comedy like this, it doesn't star, say, a Will Ferrell, do you think this is still a movie that can draw numbers in theaters?
Well, I think it can draw some numbers,
Yeah.
but I don't think it can draw Mission Impossible numbers.
No, I don't think so either.
And I think that probably that will be to its detriment a little bit
Yeah.
because, I mean, like, you know, if I go see a movie, I go see one a weekend, and if I've got
And that's more than most.
right, and like if I've got the choice between Mission Impossible or Friendship,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Mission
There's no
Impossible
question.
for the spectacle alone.
Paul Rudd is in this movie, as we know, and Paul Rudd has been in a plethora of high-grossing films, a lot of big IP out there. So I have a trivia question for the both of you.
Okay.
The two Alexes. Can Alex stump Alex here? Multiple choice. Don't worry. We do have a Scantron. You'll have to fill it out later. Which one of these non-IP Paul Rudd movies has the biggest box office worldwide total? Okay. We have A, Anchorman. B, 40-Year-Old Virgin. C, Sausage Party. D, This Is the End. Or E, Clueless.
Say them again real quick.
A, Anchorman. B, 40-Year-Old Virgin. C, Sausage Party. D, This Is the End. E, Clueless.
Ooh.
Okay, I have an answer. Anchorman.
I'm really torn between Clueless and 40-Year-Old Virgin. I'm going to go with 40-Year-Old Virgin.
And the answer is
You can't say Sausage Party.
B, 40-Year-Old Virgin.
What? Has a bigger box office than Anchorman?
Bigger box
It was
office
huge.
than
It was
Anchorman.
huge at the
Anchorman got a
time.
sequel.
That's true. There wasn't. There hasn't.
Anchorman-
Yeah. When are we getting 60-Year-Old Virgin?
I was going to say, after he's no longer a virgin, the
Oh,
movie's
yeah,
over.
that's right. He had sex.
Yeah, but they did a sequel to This Is 40.
They also did a sequel to Bruce Almighty with a completely different Almighty, so they can do anything they
Yeah,
want.
what are we talking about here?
That was the also with
Anchorman,
40-Year-Old Virgin.
Way
star.
more people say, "Oh, Kelly Clarkson." Oh shit, that's 40-Year-Old Virgin.
That's 40-Year-Old Virgin. You're quoting 40-Year-Old Virgin when you're trying to quote Anchorman.
But I feel like more people would say, I'm a big deal. I'm a kind of a big deal. I'm kind of a big deal. I'm kind of a big deal.
you couldn't even come up with that quote.
That's what
while
I
you were
was
trying
going to
to
say,
it.
but I was like, that's not as big as the other one. And the other one was, I'm kind of a big deal.
Anchorman made 90, 40 Words made 177.
What?
blew it out of the water.
Wow. Do you think those movies still can have a life out here? Those rated
You
R
know,
buddy
I
comedies.
hope they can because I love those movies and
Yeah.
I miss them.
Yeah.
And there hasn't
Yeah, of
been a really
course.
good one of those in a while. But there's probably, I'd have to guess, a reason for that.
Maybe.
So I don't know.
To me,
maybe
I think
an event one
like
could.
horror movies, they're easily rotational. Like they're kind of formulaic in a way. You can get really funny people in a room, knock out a 90-minute script, cheap to film. Like most of them don't go crazy. So to me, I don't know why we're not seeing more of them, but maybe they just don't traditionally do well. I'm not sure.
I think they rely on a personality. They
Right.
rely on a Will Ferrell or a Vince Vaughn or
I think it's
something
also
or
just,
other.
I mean, you used to make, and this is, a million people have said this, but like, you used to be able to make a movie for like $10 million
Sure.
and then just as long as you made like $20 million, that
it
was
was a
pretty good.
success, yeah.
Which now is becoming less and less the case, which
That's
is
true.
why you don't see movies like this
Yeah.
as much. That's why A24
According-
is kind of doing so well. I
And
think.
according to Variety, you can't be profitable with any type of movie that you make. But let's stick on the buddy comedy thing for a second, because as you said, the buddy comedy is a yesteryear. So I want to ask, Lewis, since you're first time guesting on this show, we usually do top 3 segments here. So let's join you in on one. What are the top 3 buddy comedies?
Okay. I texted,
There's a lot.
I texted Kellerman my top 3 so as to not forget what my choices were.
Well, we're gonna knock a few off because I got a list
No,
of
no,
about
I've got-
I
7.
have a few that
So,
I feel should be on there.
My
so.
top 3, and they're not all buddy comedies, but they're all like buddy movies.
Okay, all right.
Back to the Future is my number 1.
Not a buddy comedy.
You don't think so?
Certainly not.
How come?
Because Marty goes on the adventure alone and Doc helps him. They're not going through on the adventure together.
I don't agree.
Oh.
I don't agree at all. In
I
fact,
agree with Kellerman's take that a buddy comedy means they need to be on the adventure together, but I see your point that they are on the adventure together.
yeah, I think that it's 100% about like both of their characters.
So Back to the Future's up there. We got producer TJ giving it a thumbs down.
he doesn't
Keep
like
going.
this. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
No.
That's not
It's not a comedy.
No,
Not
that's
a buddy,
thrown out.
not a buddy movie.
To be fair, I thought you said, how is that not a buddy movie?
Just because a movie has two friends in it doesn't make it a buddy comedy.
I didn't say it was a buddy comedy. I said it was a buddy movie.
Kellerman's he does this a lot. Keep going.
I will argue the semantics of this forever.
And then Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and
There you
Dumber's on
go.
my list. Dumb and Dumber's on my list.
Dumb and Dumber should be
Yeah.
on the list. I
Okay,
feel
great.
it is
So
a
Dumb and-
timeless.
Well, now I got to
buddy
think of two
comedy.
other things
Dumb-
because you guys
Well, we're
threw
gonna-
out my
we got our own.
Dumb and Dumber cemented. I do want to get Vince Vaughn on here somewhere, so I
do you?
propose either Wedding Crashers or Swingers.
Oh,
those
Swingers
are two
is
of
a
my
great
favorite
buddy
buddy
comedy.
comedies.
Swingers is probably the best if we're going to put a Vince Vaughn movie on there,
we
but
don't
I
have
don't
to, but
necessarily think that.
When I
it
think
goes
buddy
up there.
comedy, I'm thinking
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn.
and
at
you're
least
thinking
in the-
Swingers. I'd argue you're thinking Swingers specifically.
Wow, you think of Vince Vaughn?
Well, just because of our generation of buddy comedies, like what we grew up with, yeah, Vince Vaughn is one of the characters in a buddy comedy to me.
Okay.
How would you... Hold on. Okay, go on. I'm sorry. I'm a little enraged about this Back to the Future thing, but go on. I'm sorry.
No, a few more on my list, Kellerman. I'm sure you want to throw them down if we want to go back in time a little bit. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles,
Oh, yeah.
fantastic
Ooh,
buddy
it's a good
comedy.
one.
Thelma and Louise, a fantastic
Yeah,
buddy comedy.
now we're talking.
I also have Sideways if we want to get a little
No.
dramatic with it, but no, that's fine. Okay, he doesn't like
Wait, you just said
I just
a couple
don't like
movies that they're not buddies.
Thelma and Louise aren't
No,
buddies?
no, they're buddy. That I wasn't talking about.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles,
Those
they
two men
become
hate
buddies.
each other.
They become
They
buddies.
grow. Yeah. They learn to love each
And
other.
they're forced to go on an
That
adventure
counts.
together.
That counts as a buddy
I'm
comedy
fine
for
not
sure.
putting it on there, but I do think that Swingers and Dumb and Dumber are two of them. We need to find our third.
I don't know about Swingers.
Okay,
How
Calvin.
can you not include a Chris Farley, David Spade movie?
That's
like
great.
Tommy
Because I've
Boy?
never seen one.
That's
You've seen Tommy Boy. I've shown you Tommy Boy.
You have not.
I certainly have.
I'm coming in from the Raptors. Midnight Run.
Get out of here!
Get out of here! It's one of the best movies of all time. Get out of here. I'm
with
leaving. Goodbye.
John Voight and
the voice you just heard.
Dustin
Robert
Hoffman?
De Niro and Charles Grodin.
wow, I was very wrong. I thought it was John Voight and Dustin Hoffman.
The voice you
I'm
just
thinking
my
Midnight
goodness.
Cowboy.
Midnight Cowboy. Not a comedy. Not a comedy. Anyway, after we were rudely interrupted, I was going to get to Midnight Run, Alche, but thank you for coming off the couch and telling
Analyze
us your
this.
thoughts.
Billy Crystal and Robert De Niro.
Great buddy comedy.
That is an example of a buddy comedy.
What about
And
Bob?
a good one, but
So what were you going to say?
Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy's a great addition.
For Chris
Tommy Boy's a
Farley,
great addition.
David Spade.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shrek.
What about Bad Boys?
Bad Boys, no, absolute. That's not, no.
What do you mean absolute?
that's an action movie.
Bad
That's an
Boys
action
is a
movie.
quintessential buddy cop movie.
That is an action movie.
That's a buddy cop
If that's
movie.
the case, we're going into Lethal Weapon, which is better than Bad Boys, and
False.
those aren't
I don't
comedies.
agree.
Those
I don't
are action
agree that
movies.
Bad Boys is a better movie than Lethal Weapon.
Those are action movies.
No.
Those are action movies. They're not buddy comedies.
Okay,
TJ has his
fine.
hand up in the back, even though he doesn't have a camera or a mic. I guess we have to include him in this conversation.
Bill and Ted's.
Okay.
Buddy
yeah.
and Ted's Excellent
That's a buddy
Adventure
movie.
from the Raptors.
Doesn't go on the list, but I do love those movies.
Fantastic. Happy all.
What about Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
They're in there
I
as
love
well.
Jay and Silent Bob, but
Cheech
I,
and Chong
I don't
movies
think,
as
yeah,
well.
I love
Clerks.
Cheech and Chong movies, but I wouldn't put them
There's
on the
so
list.
many buddy comedies. We have to come down with a list. I'm putting
Dumb and
Swingers on
Dumber
there. I'm
has to
putting
go on
Dumb and
there.
Dumber
Back
on there.
to the Future
We need to find our third.
is about Doc and Marty.
Can we
And to
just agree-
suggest it isn't is ridiculous. Doc literally changed it. The whole thing is about his fucking personality changing because he, in the beginning of the movie, you can't change the future, blah blah blah. And then Marty teaches him that it's not about that.
I understand that there are two
They
main
both have
characters.
things to learn from each other.
It's not a
Even an old man can learn a lesson from a young boy.
So, our top
Best friends. Go on.
Our top 3 buddy comedies, because we're forced to by the guest of this show.
No.
Number 1,
Back
Dumb
to
and
the
Dumber.
Future.
Number 2, Swingers. Number 3, Back to
This
the
is
Future.
the only list of all time for buddy comedies that includes Back to the Future.
If you don't agree, please let us know in the comments and
I'm
tag
so mad
Alex
at you.
Lewis. Let's bring it back to the movie. Friendship.
Back to the Future.
Oh
Back
my
to the
god!
future
Our
of this
friendship
movie.
is over after you consider Back to the Future a buddy comedy.
Who's on the DVD cover, Alex? It's Doc and Marty.
Okay,
You fucking kidding me? This movie is about the two of them.
fine.
This movie is about Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd, however. And we like to play some over-unders in this on this podcast. We give out a number. TJ, producer TJ, again, the silent assassin back there, gives out a number, and we have to guess whether it will make over or under that number in the domestic box office. Here's the key, though. Again, this number is going to be pretty small because it's only opening up in New York and LA. However, our listeners and viewers, subscribers, if you want to learn more, like and share, thanks, help us grow. We will have an answer for you next week on who wins the over-under contest because, again, this is a game that we like to play continuously. Last week, we all lost on the Thunderbolts over-under, just coming in under that 77
You should have
number.
let me change my answer.
You're your own man. You can do whatever you want. The season-long records. Myself and Alche are 7-5. Kellerman is 4-8. Not a great record. You have the chance to be the first guest to get this correct because producer TJ, when he was sitting in that chair, failed miserably like the rest of us. Okay. So, producer TJ, what is the box office over-under number for the limited release of Friendship? So this is not a rarity. A lot of these A24 indie-style movies do have limited releases in the past. So again, this is going to be a small number. In the past, we've had film like The Lighthouse make $170K domestically in that opening weekend. Everything Everywhere All at Once made over $500,000. So this, again, will be a tiny number. But Friendship, opening weekend, $500,000. In just New York and LA, limited release, does it make over or under $500K? Go for it.
Under.
I think that's way too high of a number. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this will sell out. It's not coming up against anything unless you want to see Josh Hartnett be John Wick in a plane. I'm going under $500K.
I do want to see Josh Hartnett be John Wick in a plane. Is that happening?
It is happening.
That sounds kind of cool.
I'm going under as well. Kellerman, if you want to be different, you can go over.
TJ sent us a list of movies that included some things. What did Bodies make?
$226K. I gave you the top and I gave you the bottom.
I really think Bodies is a good comp. I think that it's going to capture that like Gen Z weird fun audience, and that only made 266. I got to go under 500.
That's 3 unders from the back. Mr. Alexander Joshua Alche, feel free to add on to your 7 and 5
Are you going to take the over just to be different?
All 3 of us have gone unders. Will you make it a 4 in a row once again?
I'm going over.
I'm really torn, honestly, because I do think that Robinson has a pull.
He doesn't have Everywhere All at Once pull.
No, you're right.
Let me put it this way. There's a number I didn't include in the stats I was given because I don't think this is a buddy comedy. Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler only made $526. So if that's going to make $526, Tim Robinson ain't hitting $500.
No way. Adam Sandler has way more of a pull.
I agree. Paul Rudd was just in an A24 movie that I thought was going to make bank.
And that released worldwide and
that
it made
released
nothing.
worldwide and made nothing.
Made nothing. The one thing in its favor, though, people seem to love I Love You, Man. And this movie is kind of, I guess, similar to that with Paul Rudd playing that type of character.
People love I Love You, Man?
I don't know him, but I think it's out there.
People like it.
Very big online.
I've never heard I Love You, Man. I like the movie I Love You, Man, but it's not in like the conversation of like The Hangover or
we
Wedding
didn't mention it in
Crashers
buddy
or-
comedies,
No,
I'll tell you that.
I personally liked Role Models better, which came out around the same time.
I
as
also
Paul
liked
Rudd
Role Models.
and Sean William Scott.
But like, yeah, I like I Love You, Man and everything. It is not in the conversation for anyone's favorite comedy.
I've genuinely never thought of I Love You, Man after seeing I Love You, Man.
I had a good
Jason
time watching
Segel
it.
just doesn't stay in the memory.
I'd
usually.
rather see the Muppets movie again. I'd rather
Really?
see the Muppets movie
You will
again.
die
than
for I Love You, Man?
I'm coming on this side of the mic this time to say I Love You, Man is a phenomenal movie. Everyone loves this movie. You guys are all crazy, including a wonderful guest, Alex Lewis. But I Love You, Man is a phenomenal comedy. Go home and watch it tonight.
I like it.
You like it, not love
We
it. That's
all
not enough.
like.
It's fine. I have seen it once and it was in the theater and I will say there's a terrible vomit scene in that and I have a huge phobia of vomiting. There's a really bad vomiting scene
It went
in
straight
that
to the
one.
bottom of Lewis's
So like
list.
I won't see it again for that reason, but that like there's other vomit movies that I will see again. That's a good gauge. If Alex will
Top
watch
3
it again,
vomit movies?
No, just if a movie has a vomit scene in it and I watch it again, it must be pretty fucking
What are your
good.
thoughts on Team America World Police?
I've watched that several times.
Yeah, better than I Love You, Man.
Definitely better than I mean, come on. That's better than I Love You, Man.
No.
You like I Love You, Man more than you like Team America World Police.
This is off the rails right now.
I do. I think it's a phenomenal
I don't
movie.
believe you.
I swear to God, I love Team America.
I don't believe.
I I do.
You like Team America more than you like I Love You, Man.
I do.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right.
Oh, I thought you were saying the opposite.
Wait, I don't. I love you, man.
You can't.
I can't. I'm taking the mic away from you now.
That's not possible. It is objectively not as funny as Team America. Team America is one of the funniest movies ever made.
I don't
Well,
agree with
okay.
that. Before we
Hold
get
on.
off any
Calm
longer, I've been
down,
trying to
Lewis.
wrap up this segment for 15 freaking minutes. I got Stomps McGee going on either side trying to get on mic. All right. That is it for Friendship. Any last words on either Kellerman and yours Friendship? Will you ever do this podcast again or the movie itself?
I'll do it again if you want me to.
Give me another fist bump. Good job, buddy. Thanks for coming.
And that is it for Friendship. And that is it for Alex Lewis. But before you go, we do have some See It, Stream It, Skip It to end the show with. But again, thank you, Lewis, for coming in again. Slam Frank. What is Slam Frank?
Slam Frank is the most important musical of our generation. It's a new musical version of Anne Frank, the story of the Diary of Anne Frank. And what's really amazing about it is it answers a lot of the questions left by like initial productions when it comes to the cultural conversation. And I think it's a very important piece. I'm very excited to be taking on the role of Peter Van Daan, and you should come out to New York and see Slam Frank.
Absolutely. Going up in September. Now, I will say, will this be more or less culturally relevant than I Love You, Man?
I'd say more.
Wow. That's powerful.
Yeah,
That's
over on the
powerful.
over-under scale.
You heard it here first, folks. Welcome back to the pod, Alche. We got one more thing before we have to break down. We have 3 more movies coming out wide release this weekend. It's time for another See It, Stream It, Skip It. Kellerman, all 3 of these movies are potentially right up your alley. I'm excited to see where you go. They're 3 movies that
You're not
you, the
wrong.
listener, the watcher, have likely never heard of before. And that's why we're telling it to you right now. The first one, Clown in a Cornfield, which if you went to a drive-in movie last weekend, you likely saw it. It was exclusively in drive-in theaters, now opening up worldwide. If you see the poster, it says, "Are you a friend of Friendo?" That's the movie you're getting there.
That's cool, though. I like the drive-in aspect.
Second movie up top is Fight or Flight. It's John Wick on a plane. If John Wick was played by a not intimidating actor in Josh Hart. And number 3, Shadow Force, starring Kerry Washington. An estranged couple have former PSYOP co-workers coming after them, and they have to escape with their son. Another B movie from the 90s made in 2025. Those 3 movies, Alche, which one are you seeing?
Oh, you know where I'm going. First of all, you plebeians who didn't watch Lupin, the wonderful French show on Netflix that has, I
missed
believe,
it.
3 seasons now. It's taken the world by storm. Omar Sy is an excellent actor. Kerry Washington is an A-list actor. I am seeing Shadow Force. It is going to be great.
Really?
She's going to kick some ass. Absolutely. Carrie's amazing and such a good actor and such a good person and like is a beast of an actor. I'd love to see her kick some ass. Shadow
Okay.
Force, baby.
Wow.
Seeing Shadow Force from Alche. What are you seeing, Kellerman?
You know, I think that Clown in a Cornfield, even though it sounds ridiculous, looks awesome. It looks so
Yeah, I would have bet my
weird
house that
and
would be what you would
creepy.
see.
And like, I'm a big like Terrifier fan, and this is right in line with all of those like clown horror movies. Plus, it's a slasher. I'm definitely seeing Corn in a Clown Field.
Corn on the cob field.
Clown in a Cornfield is directed by Eli Craig and written by Eli Craig. It's the same guy who made Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Which is a great horror comedy.
Sure. Shadow
Classic.
Force, Joe Carnahan. This man wrote and directed a couple of really fun movies, Smokin' Aces, The Gray, and also wrote your favorite, Bad Boys 3. So he's the
Hey.
man in charge of Shadow
the worst
Force.
bad boys.
Let me tell you,
Not gonna lie, it is the worst, but I am seeing this movie.
I'm going to see Fight or Flight, John Wick on a plane with Josh Hart in it. Why? Because Clown in a Cornfield looks like absolute doggy doo-doo. And Shadow Force is a great stream movie. I'll stream Shadow Force late night on a Netflix. Why not? That's a perfect movie to pause at about the 30-minute mark, go make dinner, come back later because you don't need to know what's going on. It's the same formulaic action thriller we've seen over and over again.
Sure.
I'm skipping Clown in a Cornfield altogether. I'm sorry. That movie stinks, Kellerman.
How do you know it stinks?
I've seen all of the things put out about it. It stinks, Kellerman.
But
are
if
you
it-
a friend of Friendo? What are we doing?
But it sounds like
clown's name is Friendo.
it's a comedic take on a horror, no?
It doesn't look terribly comedic to me from the trailer, but
Okay.
maybe. The fact that it's a clown sort of inherently makes it
All right,
somewhat
well,
comedic.
let me give you my stream then, because I'm streaming. I'm gonna be at home. This is a Home Alone movie. You're sitting on the couch sipping some whiskey, taking a little clown on the cornfield, baby. Corn on the clown field. What is it called?
You're skipping Josh Hartnett?
Yes, I'm skipping Josh Hartnett. I love Josh Hartnett, I do, but he hasn't been great since Lucky Number 11.
Wow, I strongly dislike Josh Hartnett, which is why I'm going to skip
Who knows what?
Shadow Force.
What?
And stream Fight or Flight.
Wow.
Even though I think Josh Hartnett is one of the most overrated actors of our time, I think that movie looks insane and potentially a lot of fun. So
he's made some interesting choices over the last few years. From Trap to this, I feel like he's doing these.
Yeah, so I'm gonna stream Fight or Flight, and then I'll just skip Shadow Force, which is a movie made with a bunch of TV actors.
I'll give a full review on the Substack next week.
So since we all gave 3 very different answers, the consensus is pick your poison with these 3 terrible movies, but go see them in theaters because the box office is dying.
Really needs
according
you.
To many people out there. I don't want to get too political too fast, but that's the end of our show this week. Next week, we're talking about another horror franchise and IP coming back into form. It's time for Final Destination Bloodlines.
Whose movie is that? Does somebody have that?
That is the debut of the first movie on our indie movie list. We'll explain all those rules later. But hey, if you like us, subscribe, give us a share, help this channel grow. Can't wait to talk about it tomorrow or next weekend. And it's going to be interesting. Final Destination.
Ta-ta for now.